Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have here about 20 articles open for you. I will not read the articles, I will read the headlines of all of them, and in some of them I will just read a few important things. So what happened? There is very clear, at least to me, that there are some interests who are using or that are using certain countries in order to promote their economic interests, financial interests. That's basically what it is in Ukraine. They are eager and capable of using other countries' military and political class and the mass media in order to promote this war, which has one goal. We have to take Russia's resources, kneel Russia, weaken Russia, and maybe break it in a few parts to be more manageable. And after that, you strangled China because China gets oil and gas mainly from Russia. And then you kneeled China too. So it's the path towards China and the path towards getting all this in their little claws or hooves. So what do we have here? Macron, the president of France, Starmer, the prime minister of Great Britain, these are the main ones. Starmer is the main, Macron is a little bit smarter with his tongue, you know what I mean? All right, then you have the new German chancellor, Merz, and then you have the Polish prime minister Donald Tusk, showing off over there because they need him in order to enter Ukraine. That's the real one of the reasons why Tusk is around in Poland. They can be used by the same guys that use Great Britain, France, Germany, Poland. And then that's the trampoline. Poland is a trampoline. So they met in Kyiv, the coalition of the willing, and they speak in the name of the whole Europe. Pay attention to that when they say European leaders, when they say Europe and so on. And they decided to give an ultimatum. They write it down, ultimatum to Russia, but then they call it proposal. So I will give you an ultimatum, and I just propose that ultimatum to you. If you impose an ultimatum, you don't propose an ultimatum. But I will have in a chronology of events here. These baboons in Kiev, they issue an ultimatum to Russia. And I will show you the paradox, or not even the paradox, how tarded this is. Some dying countries, which is Germany, France, and Great Britain, old, strong guys, are towards Russia. This is so imbecilic, Russia and China. Anyway, it's so how should I put it? It's the theory of inversion. The good is bad, the bad is good, left is right, right is left, black is white, white is black. These guys are delusional. First, they issue an ultimatum to Russia, the first thing. But they're not eager to fight Russia directly. But I don't know. Then they threaten Russia with massive sanctions. I thought that you guys, depleted yourselves so much that you have no more ability to financially or provide any sanctions to Russia. But nevertheless, let them do it because they're going to screw themselves more. Then they come with a proposal and tell the Russians they don't want peace. That's what I'm getting at. They tell the Russians, you know what, Russians, we want a 30-day ceasefire. That's it. That's it. And after that, it's going to be peace on earth. But we want to impose that. And if not, we're going to just impose sanctions on them. And the Russians said, there's not going to be a 30-day ceasefire. We agreed to negotiate. And they agreed to agree. Proposed Istanbul again. Erdogan had a conversation with Putin and said, yes, we're okay to that. These guys don't want to negotiate. They don't want to do anything. If today the Russians will say, okay, 30-day ceasefire. And then Zelensky said, okay, we're going to talk to you. They meet the first day and they drag their feet. That's the whole goal. And in the meantime, they regroup. Macron comes and says, you need a ceasefire first, and then we can meet and talk. And Putin said, yeah, but I gave you at least 2 ceasefires for Easter, and I gave you for the May 9th, Victory Day. Where were you? Was that not sufficient? No. Why? They don't want to negotiate. Every time the Russians meet them a little bit somewhere, these guys go somewhere else. These guys meet them over here a little bit, go somewhere else. They always find something. Like, you're supposed to meet with me and negotiate, and I show up with this shirt. They say, no, their shirt is not good. I like only red shirts. I get the red shirts. You say, I don't like your hairdo. I want you bald-headed. I shave my head. You say, no, I like you have a goatee. What the fuck? I mean, sit down and talk. Leave all these preconditions. The Russians said, we meet in Istanbul, no preconditions, 0. And the other guy says, no, we should have ceasefire first. We had two ceasefires. You didn't meet us in the middle. Anyway, let me start with the first out of the 20-some articles. Here, ABC News. Ukraine and allies. The allies, I tell you, it's Great Britain, France, Germany, and the trampoline Poland. These are the allies. No, this is the Axis. Ready for full unconditional 30-day ceasefire starting Monday, Foreign Minister says. These guys are not proposing. They are saying, you do this, otherwise we don't talk. But isn't usually the loser doesn't get to set the agenda? In the real world, the subordinate or the person who is all bloodied and losing is not the one who says, well, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. And I don't have to do anything. If I continue, I will knock the fuck out of you. But somehow these guys, as I said, they're in an inversion. They are in a delusional state of interpretation of reality. They don't understand? No, they do understand. They just talk for the baboons with their media, with the media operatives, telling all these guys around, hey, this is the way it is, the Russians, but we want. But if you look at the chronology of events and how the things are interpreted, you realize who's who, what's what. You can talk and negotiate while you still fight. You can do that. These guys say, no, but you are losing. Why should we listen to what you say? We meet you in the middle, you always run away. Why? They don't want peace. All right, let's go to the next article. Ukraine offers Russia unconditional 30-day ceasefire from Monday. So that's tomorrow. Isn't that beautiful? Wow. Didn't Russia offer them unconditional ceasefire during Eastern time? They did. What did the other guy say? No, that's manipulation. We don't need for Easter. We need a 30-day. And then Putin said, okay, I will give you 3 days for, at least I show you, give you 3 days for Victory Day parades. If you want 3 days. No, we don't want that. We want 30 days. Who are you? I mean, take that and then we're going to discuss later about more ceasefire. So again, they say ceasefire or nothing. You're not in a position to impose, but they are, because they're going to use the Ukrainian nation and other nations. I'm talking about people. They will use the people to destroy the other people. They don't want to stop. Next one. Putin says, okay, Putin to think through Ukraine's ceasefire proposal. This is all May 10th, the Telegraph. So Putin said, okay, thank you very much. These guys are desecrating this place, right? This is a Greek Orthodox Church. You got a Jew, you got I don't know what the fuck you are, Catholic, I think, and you are a Protestant or whatever you are, Anglican, what the hell are you? All these guys come over here. That's exactly, it's a very revealing picture for the Greek Orthodox or for the Orthodox Church. They are in the center. They are in the center. A Jew who loves Christianity, as I said, it probably is a Catholic as a French, and this guy is the Protestant or an Anglican. I don't even bother. None of these belong here. But hey, I'm not going to go into religion this time. Next one. Ukrainska Pravda. Putin proposes direct talks with Ukraine in Istanbul. What's wrong with that? Is that a good thing? Let's talk about it. Omits mention of 30-day ceasefire. These guys are making it like, no. This first, and then we talk. So that is like this. I'm losing, right? You beat me up. And I say, yeah, we're going to talk about the problem that caused this situation. We're going to talk about it, not agree. We're going to talk about it. I agree to talk to you about it if you stop punching me and beating me up. And the guys say, Why? We can talk right now. We can talk right now because if I stop, you're going to say, let's talk. Okay. Where am I? Okay, we're going to talk. Oh, what do you want to talk about? This? And you're going to talk and you drag your feet for 30 days. 30 days you do push-ups, you train. And then you say, you know what? After 30 days, you say, after you ran away all the time, you say, you know what, Russia? It doesn't work. No, I'm sorry. Let's go and fight again. And the Russians start again after these guys recuperated. When you get him in the cords, bam, 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 bam. That's what it is. That's why these guys want the 30 days. And my question is, why not 29 days? Why not 31 days? Why not 25 days? Why not 40 days? Why not 10 days? What is the magic 30? I know they have the magic 6 and 6 million and 6 hours. But what's going on with 30 days? Why 30 days? What is it, a cycle? Like the economy has a cycle, 5-day cycle or something? What's the 30 days? Why 30 and not 29? I want to know. That's why when you hear these guys, the speed limit is 70 miles per hour. Why not 69? Why not 71? What's the magic 70? What did you decide? At 70 we don't die anymore, or we just lose some limbs, or what? Question these kind of things. Why? Why is it? Why 35 and not 34? All right. And Putin talks, and this is what Putin decides, or Russia, new voice of Ukraine. Kremlin wants new Ukraine talks. Fantastic. Based on Istanbul drafts and realities. Realities, what does it mean? I am giving you a bloody nose because you, NATO, got me out of my warm bed. You know what I was doing there. And I told you, back off, back off, back off. NATO, you made too much noise. My thing just went down. You gotta get my pants on, or at least my Speedos, go outside and start beating you up. And now you say, no, stop, let's talk about it. No, I did all this effort to get out. Now I'm gonna make you pay. And it's gonna be my way, as Frank Sinatra's song. So reality is, I beat you up. We're not gonna go back. We're gonna start from here on. Sorry, you got me off my bed. There should be some consequences. The consequences are, I beat you up and I push you to your little thing over there. And Istanbul drafts. All right, next one. I want to show you how these guys in the media, they create, how should I put it, propaganda. This is the article that I picked up this morning at 9:20, old man, 9:21. And you can see on top of it, and this is the title from The Guardian. There it is, The Guardian. You see it on the top, today, Vladimir Putin rejects ceasefire, ultimatum proposed. So how can it be an ultimatum if it's proposed, if it's ultimatum? By European leader. You see the date? Right there, 10th, 7:43 or whatever it's over there. All right. We're in 11, by the way. Anyway, so this is what is, right? This is the title. And I said, okay, let's look it up. So I put over here the entire title of this article, plus the Guardian. And this is the result. I'm going to do it again. I refresh it. Boom, that's it. And you might see here, let's see, ceasefire fails right here. The Indian Express, Putin rejects European ultimatum in Ukraine. You're not going to find this article. You're not going to find this article like that. You're going to find something else for the Guardian, and that's another article that I will show you at the bottom. So why? Guardian rejects, RBC, Putin rejects ultimatum. So if I go, now you don't see the articles here. If I go on this one, maybe I find this one. Let's see if I find this one. The Independent is not, it's not. And you see, it's different title. I'm going to go back. All right, let's go to where? Somewhere where it's right here, the Indian Express. These guys are giving you, right here, they give you this. All right, by Express, Web, This they give you, ultimatum on Ukraine. Because if I go here, this is what comes out. I will show you. I put this one just to show you what Macron imposes. But he proposed, it's not an ultimatum. We will impose further sanctions if Russia don't agree to ceasefire. This is May 10, right here, Saturday. Now you tell me, who's winning? Are the French winning? Macron is the president of France, not of Ukraine. Is Ukraine winning? What do you mean we will impose those sanctions on you? It's a blackmail or a threat if you do not agree with ceasefire proposal ultimatum. These guys are delusional, my friends. These guys are, I don't know how to call it. It's just started. And I'm going to show you here, right there, right? I will go up to show you that all this article, the entire article, comes from, let me go and no, it doesn't go that way. Come on, baby, don't. Right there. So this is the name, the title of the article from The Independent that I already made from the other side, right here. Putin Rejects, I go back. Don't allow, we don't allow anything here. Okay, close, you don't want to cooperate. So this is from here. Reject ultimatum, and then this is the article. And go down and you will not find that reject ultimatums. The key point, Vladimir Putin wants direct talks with Kiev. Listen to this. Without preconditions. We're open to talk to these guys, man. No preconditions. But they said, supposedly, that they want based on Istanbul draft and realities. But here they say, no, man, there's no preconditions. Zelensky, we expect Russia to confirm a ceasefire. We expect. Who expects? I tell you who expects. Who talks like this? Your mother, your father, your teacher, your employer, your supervisor. They expect. I expect you by Monday morning at 9 a.m. to have the report on my desk. I expect that. Now, your friend cannot do the same thing to you, or an equal cannot expect. I expect you to do that. Fuck off. I expect you to blow me. All right? If you talk like that. And I do talk like that. Macron, ceasefire needed for discussions to begin. I couldn't personally, I couldn't understand. I know, thick skull or something, knuckle dragger, what I am. Why is this needed? I don't understand why ceasefire is needed to discuss. First, you don't impose shit because you're losing. And then why is it necessary? What's the logic? Not the logic. Because I can say, I deserve to have your house because I like it. I mean, I can bring you justifications. Doesn't mean that justification is valid. Or I should have your wife because, I don't know, her name is Julie. What's the same here? Ceasefire needed for discussions to begin. Why? And they're going to give you something, as I said, with Julie and the house. Russia launches air attack on Kiev. Okay, right here. Kremlin says European countries' statements are confrontational. What, didn't they say something about the ultimatum? Didn't I show you this with the ultimatum? How do you call that? Do you call that friendlier? Or friendly? Didn't I show you this with the ultimatum? What are you talking? Yes, that's accurate. I mean, based on our civilization, based on these guys with the burning bush, it's not. All right, let's move on. We have so much, my friends, so much. Now, here it is. CNN, European leaders visit Kiev and tell Russia 30-day ceasefire now or face massive sanctions. Who talks like that? A partner or a guy who thinks he's in charge? Why do you think you're in charge? I would like to know why. You're losing. Your economies are shitty. You are baboons. What makes you think you are the guys who are in any position to impose? All right, let's move on, my friends. It's just ridiculous, pathetic, and these are the Western Europeans, the heirs of the ancient Greek and Roman thought. These guys? No, they're the Judeo-Christian culture. That's what they are, not the Greco-Roman civilization. I know words. All right, let's go to the next one. Starmer and Macron reject Russian demands regarding ceasefire. No preconditions, but they said no preconditions. Didn't they say in the other article? Where is that? Right here. Without preconditions. Vladimir Putin's ones that, and this guy said, no, we reject it. Where is it? Starmer and Macron. So I would like to know what Romania said about this. I mean, it's part of Europe. Oh, it's not a coalition of the willing, the allies. Move on. Ukraine war briefing. Putin rejects ceasefire. Starmer says only Russia blocking peace. How? They want to talk to you? Not to you. They want to talk to the Ukrainians in Istanbul. How do I block it? Let's go. And the other guy say, no. I'm not going until you suck my thing. Until a 30 days ceasefire. But why should we have a 30-day ceasefire? 30 days. But we ask for Easter. We ask for the Victory Day, 3 days, and you didn't meet us in the middle. So Why 30 days? Why not 25? What if tomorrow the Russia says, okay, let's agree with 10 days? I guarantee you this guy's going to say no. It's just, and I almost guarantee you if the Russians say, okay, 30-day ceasefire, I guarantee you the other guy's going to say, yes, good, but not enough. That's exactly what Macron says. Not enough. You have to wear the red panties when you show up. When you wear the red panties, you have to put a feather in your ass. What the hell? These are our people, right here. Let me show you how the Russians see it, and you tell me if it's true. 4 times Russia has called for peace, and Ukraine shut it down. What this imbecile said, only Russia blocking peace. Okay, let's see what the Russians have said. Russia has taken a series of important diplomatic steps over the past 6 weeks to try to end the Ukraine crisis. Zelensky has so far sabotaged all of them. All right, let's see what's going on. How did Ukraine react? Refused to meet in Istanbul unless Russia agrees to Zelensky's 30-day ceasefire idea starting tomorrow. Violated the Victory Day ceasefire, according to the Russians, 14,043 times. Threatened and tried to disrupt celebrations in Moscow. That's accurate. Rejected the Easter truce outright. Violated the energy strike moratorium 136 times, according to Russians. Okay? Now, how come? And this guy said, shortly before Easter, marked the year Putin declared a unilateral 30-hour truce. Anyway, who's opposing? The Russians. Putin must. You see who talks like this? And why would Putin? I mean, imagine you're a Russian, or you're Putin, and you read, Kyiv allies, Starmer and they're not allies. They are the owners. Owners owned in the same time. Putin must agree ceasefire before holding direct talks with Ukraine. So as I told you, when the Russians will agree with the 30-day ceasefire, the guys will kind of come with some, before we do that, we have to do this too. But who are you? I mean, really? In negotiation is I give you something, you give me something, and then you build on that, you give you some. You do what I tell you. If you don't do what I tell you, fuck off. No, man, no. But you're the one who doesn't want peace. It's infuriating. Infuriating. All right. Ukraine's allies have rejected Putin's offer to hold direct talks with Ukrainian officials, saying the Russian president must first accept the US. Let me see what is the reason they give you. Unconditional ceasefire first, and during it move into comprehensive peace negotiations. Why? Not the other way around. Why? Polish Prime Minister, okay, France, Germany, still waiting for Putin's univocal decision of an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. Why? I would like to see the reason. We are set to serious negotiations with Ukraine, Putin added. But they are intended to eliminate the root causes of the conflict and reach the establishment of a long-term, durable peace. These guys are trying to patch something so they can recover and then fight again. That's what it is. I'm talking about the Ukrainians owned by the French and the Germans and the Brits, obviously, who are also owned by someone who also owns United States of America. That's what it is. And Russia is not owned by the same clique. Neither is China. So again, this guy says, no, let's start with the root causes of this conflict. They know it, which is NATO. NATO's expansion, clear and nice. They all know it. They just pretend these baboons don't know it. That's why I'm here to let you know that's what it is. Let you know. All right, let's see. And in the meantime, Macron kind of threatens with what exactly? Macron vows robust security guarantees for Ukraine. Well, let me give you these baboons. Do you remember when this guy right here, or this country and this country provided robust guarantees to these guys right here about Minsk agreements? They were the guarantors, Germany and France, and they cheated Ukraine, which is not Zelensky, but I have to show it. They cheated. So why should Ukraine, not Zelensky, Ukraine, trust these guys? I mean, on my books, this guy wants part of this guy's country, Lviv and Lutsk and so on. I know the Poles say, no, we don't want it. Bullshit. And this guy's right here is just a messenger. Just a messenger. So these guys already screwed up the Ukraine with the Minsk agreements and the Russians. And they say, we'll vow robust. You didn't provide anything before. Why should I trust you now? Macron discusses possible signs of foreign troops presence in Ukraine. He decides. All right, foreign troops. Why don't you say French troops? Why do you talk about foreign troops? Why do you who appointed you in charge of anything but your country? Who? And he says, no, not thousands, not hundreds, but not several 100,000. So Macron replied, it could be several thousand, but not several 100,000. And then he says like this, it's about the fact that we will be there to provide a support presence as a second line of defense. They will first send a few thousands, and then they will add more thousands, and there will more thousands, and there will be NATO in Ukraine. That's exactly what Russia, and one of the main reasons why Russia entered Ukraine. So, and the Russians are giving them a bloody nose. Should let them do that? Why? It's just moronic. Next one. France Macron says Putin's Ukraine counter-proposal not sufficient. Why? They stick to that 30-day imbecility. Yermak. Who's Yermak? You know who Yermak is? He calls for ceasefire before talks, response to Putin's Istanbul proposal. Who is this Weinstein? Who is this Weinstein? Do you know who this Weinstein is? He is the president's office chief, appointed by the president, Jewish, both of them, plus the prime minister, also Jewish, Shmihal, and the defense minister, Reznikov, also Jewish, but he left. He's got his money and now he left. So, do you know in your country who is the chief of your president's office? Do you know the name? Do you know the name? I don't even know. I think I just found out now, a few days ago, is a woman. That's it. I looked her up to see if she's also a, how do you call it, a Weinstein or not. As of now, no. Before, in Biden's administration, the foreign minister was Jewish, Blinken, and the chief of president's office, Zintel, was also Jewish. Just a coincidence. But now we have Witkov over there. We have others over there. We have Mr. that I like very much, Stefan Miller. I like that one. And not only. So this guy says, he should not be around. Why are you talking? Why are you talking? And then we have this one. Zelensky, Ukraine ready to talk, but only if Russia holds all attacks. No, you know what we're going to do? We're going to continue the attacks. We're going to fuck you up. We're going to take all your countries, or your country, entire of your country, or the ones that is still there. Those guys will provide money and weapons. They're going to get some fat cats over there, fatter, which is the financial system and their military industrial complex and their energy industry. They will get fatter. We're going to get your country. We're going to settle over there. We're going to put whatever you guys want. You're going to be everything that the Russian says in the 4: demilitarization, no NATO, the recognition, and blah, blah, blah. All these things will be done. No more. You probably will not be a country. So yeah, talk like that. And the Russian says, okay, man, keep going. So you're not in a position to say, if you do this, only then I do this. But anyway, it's like you go to school and as a student say, I'm going to do my homework if you bring lollipops tomorrow. Smack. That's how it was in Romania, but you didn't even dare to say it. Now, let's see what Macron has to say. Macron, there can be no negotiations while weapons are speaking. This is, in beautiful terms. But why? I want to see the Greco-Roman justification. As I said, not with Julia and with the house analogy or example I gave you. No. Why? You can't do both? Why is that so? Go and talk. What do you think happens? All of a sudden, we're gonna forget about the crimes you committed because it's a ceasefire? I mean, and who decides that? Macron. Who are you? Are you Ukrainian? Who are you to say this? But he decides. He's the helper. Imbecilic, man. Next one. Starmer and Macron reject demands regarding ceasefire, no preconditions. But they said already, where is that? No preconditions. Where was that? Let me see. Right here. Vladimir Putin wants direct talks with you without preconditions. What are you talking about? Can you read? Next one. Putin offers Ukraine direct talks, again, without preconditions. Russia Today. The decision now rests with Kyiv and the Western backers, the Russian president said. You see here? But they say here, no preconditions. All right, then we go to this. Erdogan accepts Putin's request to host Russia-Ukraine talks. Ankara is ready to help Moscow and Kyiv pick up the settlement process where they left off in 2022. The president has said they had a conversation. So, okay, look, everything is ready. The bed is made, the dough is warm in here. I locked the door. All right, let's go, baby. I need some wine. Okay, here's the champagne. I need some chocolate. Fuck off. Get dressed and go. All right, okay, next one. And the last one comes again from the Russia Today. You remember those guys threatened with sanctions? Russia is not afraid of Western sanctions. The Kremlin. Moscow has long adapted to West policies and knows how to minimize the negative effects. Peskov said, "We already know what we will do once the sanctions are announced and how we will minimize their effects." On Friday, the British government announced what it calls the largest ever sanctions package against Russia, targeting its oil transportation network and are ordered to deliver a blow to the country's energy reserves. My friends, that's it. Now, I read all these things in a hurry because I don't want to keep you here 3 hours. For me, things are clear. These guys don't want peace, but they want to portray the other guys as no one in peace. The Russians clearly entered this war to win it in order to fulfill the demands, the reasons why. I know it was unprovoked. That's how these baboons are telling us. And unreasonable. I mean, you can't reason, you can't, unjustifiable. So you can't justify. The Russians brought you for justification. You kill our ethnic Russians in the east of Ukraine. You overthrew a government. You bring NATO over there. Are that enough justifications for us? And if you say no, then can we do the same thing to you? No, that means you are a piece of shit. And I think that's exactly what's going on here. I'm not saying the Russians are clean, but excuse me, they use logic. They come over and say, you know what? Let's do it. It's people don't want to negotiate. That's what it is. They want to continue with what it is, or they want an unconditional demand, not a propose. That's not a proposal. I propose you undressed and let me work on you. No, that's a threat. No. I just propose. It's just I propose you give me your car right now. All right, my friends. It's just this is baboonish, and unfortunately, they are at war. People die, but some people get. They have no scruples. No. If you think that Macron and Starmer and these leaders would not sacrifice other people, other countries first, and then their country, their nationals, their Mbappe and their to fulfill the guys' agenda who have them over there, open the doors, promote it, and so on, wind them down. If you think that they will not, they have to have this kind of mind. I give you this example many times with then Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. She was a Jewess as well. Secretary of State of the United States of America. She was in charge of the U.S. policy, foreign minister, like Lavrov, for instance, with Iraq. Remember when she was asked in an interview, I don't know, Meet the Press or whatever it was, and she was asked, Madam Secretary of State, yes, do you think U.S. imposed sanctions on Iraq at that time? And the estimates, I think, for the UN, United Nations, were about 500,000 children, Iraqi children, died of starvation because of the sanctions imposed by the good Americans. Not you. Did you vote for those guys then? And did you vote? Well, they represented you. All right. So indirectly. All right. So here it is. And do you think it's worth the price? The price is worth whatever. And she said, yes, it is. So she agreed with 500,000 children, Iraqi children, estimated by United Nations. She was okay with that. Let's say it was not 500,000. It was 3. I give you 3, okay, from 500,000. I'm not going to give you 100,000 or 450 or something. I give you 3. And she was okay with that. Children, innocent. She was okay. They have to have a criminal mind in order to be in a position where they are. Because they will be asked, told to do certain things, and they have to do it. Have you heard of any politicians resigning because I'm not going to do this? I can't agree with the sanctions or the embargo on Cuba, where these guys are going to be, because we want a regime change over there. Have you heard anybody, a politician says, no, I've been asked to do this and I can't in good conscience, and because I'm a Christian, I can't do that. Oh my God. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Mentality. If you don't have that mentality, go over there and work for someone else, because you're not going to work for yourself. I'm just kidding. Thank you very much for being with me again today, because they work for us, Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.